Now, let's start the Cloud Operation System, Unit 2. The Cloud Operation System Structure. I'm Mr. Jen from the National Formosa University. Today, most services on the cloud are based on the network or internet. However, the cloud environment can provide a huge computing resources, no matter the CPU, memory, storage space. A client user can try to rent this computing resource for their own computing workload. So the service based on the network with the huge computing resource are the basic concept on the cloud environment. However, we always suppose that there are so huge computing resource. The real hardware resource or the hardware equipment are still needed. Without the real CPU, the real memory, or the real hard disk, we cannot provide the huge computing resource. So we still need the real hardware. In the server side, there will be huge real hardware integration as a service we called data center. In addition, a client user will also need to use a real device for network connection. No matter use a mobile device, personal computer, pad, you should still need the real hardware for server side or client side. In the past, we know the web service is based on a remote server. A server administrator only need to establish the application or software, such as IIS or Apache. Then the administrator can establish the web service or web page for the remote client user. The service only between the application or software on the server and the client. However, today in the cloud server structure, we still need the real server to provide the real computing resource. The remote client user still need the real hardware to connect to the internet. However, a client user can try to rent the on-demand required computing resource from the data center. So the server will provide the computing resource for our client user. On-demand required hardware resource, the infrastructure, will be a service for our client users. The CPU, the total amount of memory, the storage space can be on-demand required or rented by the client user. And not only the infrastructure or we say hardware resource. The operation system, or we say platform, can be also on-demand decided. You can choose Windows XP, Windows 7, Windows 10, Mac, Linux as your operation system. So the platform can be independent from the infrastructure. you can rent your wish related to the infrastructure. You can choose the platform or operation system for your server. Then you can decide what application or what kind of the software you need to be implemented on the platform. So on-demand request service can be a choice. Now, a client user will not only to rent a fixed remote server, and client user today can try to rent a server with different infrastructure, computing resource, different type of operation system, different platform, and different application or software as the service. So, a cloud computing structure, in the best, we need the real server to provide the real computing, to deal with the real computing work. It costs a lot. You need a lot of computers to provide huge computing ability, or we say resource. In this semester, we call people, company, or the hardware to provide the huge computing resource as data center. And based on the data center, we can virtualize the hardware resource. Then the client, user, or customer can rent this computing resource. This virtualized hardware resource are called infrastructure. So, in a cloud computing structure, the infrastructure can be a service for a client customer. The people can rent the on-demand CPU, memory by themselves, and this service will based on the network. The platform can be also rented based on the virtualized hardware. The virtualized operation system can be implemented or can be used based on the network and provided to our remote client user or the customer. Today we also call this type service as platform as a service, PaaS. Finally, based on the virtual machine, based on the network, the cloud computing environment can provide the application or software required by the client user. So, when a client user or customer start a virtual machine on the cloud environment based on the network, the computing resource, infrastructure, the operation system platform, the software application in the virtual machine can be decided by the client user themselves. So you don't need to buy, you just need to rent. The cost can be reduced. Even you need the professional application or software. So, an on-demand resource required including the infrastructure, platform, software by the client users. Based on the network, the dynamic service can be provided and used by the remote client user. So in the cloud computing structure, we focus on IaaS, infrastructure as a service, IaaS, PaaS, PaaS, platform as a service, and SaaS, software as a service. Okay, so based on the cloud computing structure, the client user or our customer is still located at a remote location. The client user only use the smartphone, the mobile phone, the pad, the laptop, personal computer, any devices which can connect to the internet and use the browser can obtain the cloud computing service. In the server side, they will have 4 layers. In the basement, the server we call data center will really have the physical computing resource such as CPU, memory, storage space, network interface card. This real or physical computing resource will be the basement for the cloud computing service. The first layer, IaaS, infrastructure as a service. Such as Amazon Web Service, EC Square, or a simple storage service, XXX. The infrastructure as a service based on the physical computing resource and by using the virtualization technology. The physical hardware are virtualized. So the virtualized computing resource will be merged or integrated as a resource pool. Then the client user can give the on-demand requirements. For example, how many cores of the CPU needed, the size of the memory needed, the storage space, the network interface card. So the client user can give their requirement and rent the corresponding virtualized computing resource. And this computing resource will be merged as one virtual machine, provide a service to the client via internet. If the client user disconnect from the cloud computing platform or disconnect from the IaaS service website, then all the rented virtualized computing resource will be put back into the resource pool for the rapidly used. The client user only own the right to use, not really have the computing resource. Based on the IaaS infrastructure, then the second layer, platform, PaaS, PaaS, platform as a service, can be provided to our client user. The computing environment can be the service provided to the customer. For example, the Google provides the Google App Engine to the user who want to develop the application or software based on the Google environment. Even you can select Mac operation system, Windows operation system as your platform. The third layer, SaaS, software as a service. Based on the network, the client user can run a virtual machine based on cloud computing environment. The client user already select the computing resource he wants. Choose the platform need. Then, which type of software or which application need to use depends on the client user. So the client user doesn't need to install the application or software at the local device. The client user only need to run the software or application, and these software or applications will be established based on the virtual machines. For example, the Microsoft Office 365. You can edit your Excel, your PowerPoint, or if your Word files online. You don't need to buy the license. You don't need to care about the update or the version. You only need to use. So when a client user disconnect from the internet, it means all the service from the cloud computing environment will not be available. So we can define the cloud computing service is a web or network internet service. All the service will based on the network, no matter the application you need, the operation system or platform you need, or the computing resource, even the virtualized computing resource you need, will be provided via network. The SaaS, PaaS, and IaaS is the three main service provided to client user. Everyone who involved in the computing environment or learn the cloud computing will remember that. We take the Amazon Web Service as the example. Amazon Elastic Compute Cloud, Amazon EC Square, as an IaaS service, infrastructure as a service. You can choose the computing resource you need from the website. Then the Amazon EC Square platform will establish the virtual machine you need corresponding to the requirement of the computing resource. And the Elastic load balance auto scaling will try to match the load balance on the Amazon EC Square platform. The computing resource occupation will be tried to distribute it to the real or physical computing node or computing resource. the load of each computing resource node should be balanced. Then based on the virtual machine, the Amazon also provide Amazon Web Service Elastic Beanstalk. It is a platform as a service PaaS. You can select the platform or operation system you need, and the chosen operation system can be completely installed, implemented on your virtual machine. Or you just need to create the storage space without the virtual machine. So you can just only rent the storage space. So Amazon Web Service also provides a simple storage service, SSS. It is a IaaS kind of service, infrastructure as a service. The Amazon provides a huge storage space for client user without the operation system and the virtual machine. So you can only rent the storage space you need. How about the Google App Engine? The Google App Engine is the PaaS service, platform as a service. It provides a runtime environment. The runtime environment is given by the Google, and you can, or a developer can, use the program language to develop their own application or software. And this application or software can be executed based on the Google App Engine, based on the runtime environment. The program language can be used such as Python, Java, or Google language, Go. In addition, if your application or program need the support from the Google, maybe search engine, maybe Android, maybe Google email, Gmail, maybe Google Drive, then you can use the existing Google API. Then you can implement your program or application more easily. Of course, Google App Engine also provides the storage space. You can use the data store to create your own storage or file system. There are two types for you to connect the data store. The first is NoSQL, or we say non-SQL. The non-SQL type data is the most used in a Google App Engine data store. It's a raw type connection database. However, considering the most developer, the traditional SQL language should be also used and implement for connection to the Google App Engine. So the Google App Engine also provides the Google Cloud SQL. Hence, a programmer or developer still use the original SQL language to establish the application or software data store. In addition, due to the super ability of Google, there are so many services can be provided by the Google. if you use the Google App Engine as the runtime environment and the software or application development platform, then you can use the Google API directly. You don't need to implement or program or code the function by your own self. So, how can we establish the multiple virtual machine on the cloud environment? It's very interesting. Investment, the physical server or with a physical computing resource will be merged or integrated as one computing resource pool. In this example, there may be two client users connect to the cloud platform. Each client user try to establish their own virtual machine. So these two client users provide their own requirements individually to the cloud environment or cloud platform. Then, according to the corresponding computing resource requirements, two different virtual machines will be established based on the computing resource pool. Of course, these two client users can require different applications or software embedded in their own virtual machine. Also, different client users can decide their own platform or their infrastructure. So based on the computing resource corresponding to the required computing resource, the client user can establish a virtual machine by the infrastructure as a service, IaaS. Then different CPU, different memory, different storage space will be merged as a virtual machine's computing resource. So from the server, from the physical hardware to the infrastructure of the virtual machine, this computing resource already virtualized. It also means the physical hardware is virtualized and implemented as the software. Also, the platform PaaS, PaaS, platform as a service. Different client users can choose the operation system they need. So one virtual machine is established or implemented, even is virtualized as a physical machine. However, no matter the computing resource in the infrastructure, the operation system used in the platform, or the application or software needed, they are all virtualized as a software. So we call the company who owns the physical hardware indicates the company established a data center. Then, on demand, given the conditions from the client user, different virtual machines can be established according to the virtualization technology. So the computing resource, the operating system, the application can be provided as the software service, just corresponding to the requirement from the client user. Here is the short summary. Please remember that there are three main services defined. The first is SaaS, software as a service, such as the Microsoft Office 365. You can rent the software online without paying the license, and you don't need to buy the software or application. The second, PaaS, platform as a service. For example, Google App Engine provides the development platform or environment for developers to program or establish their application. The last one is IaaS, infrastructure as a service. For example, Amazon Web Service, Amazon EC Square. You can pick up, choose, or select the computing resource you need. Although these computing resources are all virtualized from the physical computing resource or from the computing resource pool. However, Amazon can establish the virtual machine similar to the physical computer for the client user. Please remember this summary. This also appears in the certification exam.